of open space purchases on the island, and so far 58% of you who've responded to the question have said no. Welcome back to Long Island Talks. Is government dragging its feet when it comes to saving open space? Dick Amper, the executive director of the Long Island Pine Barrens Society, says yes. And also Carrie, Meek, Gallagher with me tonight, the commissioner of Suffolk County's Department of Environment and Energy. She says, well, the county's got lots they want to buy, but the people who they're offering the money to don't always accept the offers. So we're continuing the conversation. Craig writes me on Facebook, I'm very much for the purchasing of open space and historical locations, but when the economy hurts, the belt needs to be tightened. When it improves, purchase again. They need to make cuts like this everywhere, including the gross overspending by the politicians. Back to the phones I go. Let me hear from who's on our line right now. Suzanne. Suzanne, where are you calling from? West where?
West Hampton.
Okay, beautiful place. What do you think?
My hero, Thomas Berry, has said that human beings are hardwired to live in a world of natural beauty. And the problem with all of what we call progress and the ensuing destruction of natural land and nature itself is that when it's all gone, we'll still have the longing and the need for it, but we won't even know what that longing is anymore. We'll just be a race of people wandering around with a longing that we can never fulfill. And look at us, we're all frustrated, we're overworked, we live in a world of traffic, asphalt, steel, electricity. We need nature. There are studies being done, as if we need studies, to prove to us that nature is good for us. It lowers our blood pressure. People who have plant material in the buildings where they work are more productive. Children who spend time in nature do better in test scores across the board. They have less conflict. They're healthier children. We need nature in order to survive.
Yeah, Suzanne, I agree with you there, and I just have to stop you right there because I have a couple of other callers on the line. But the truth of the matter also is, Commissioner, that nature comes at a much more expensive price now, doesn't it?
Yes, it certainly does. It's 6 times as expensive as it was during the Halpin administration and 5 times as expensive as it was during the Gaffney administration. So, again, talking about comparing.
And yet the public has put up a total of $1 million that we can still tap. In the next 2 years, as you know, is the best time for Suffolk County to be borrowing against anticipated revenues. We've got money from state, county, and town levels, and you have to go to your boss and say, well, let me go, I want to buy it.
Now, let me bring on one more. If only it were that easy. Let me bring on another viewer. Larry's calling in. Larry, where are you calling from?
I'm Town North Hempstead.
Okay, go ahead. Share your views with us.
Sure. Well, the two speakers are being rather naive. If you want to save the environment, it's far more than preserving land. I would challenge both speakers. Do you use mass transit on a regular basis instead of your automobile like I do? I use a hand-powered lawnmower. Electric and gas-powered lawnmowers are the greatest polluters. Do either of the speakers use electric or gas-powered lawnmowers? It takes individual action, whether it's recycling newspapers, plastic, or magazines, and government intervention. You know, we're broke, city, state, federal. It's nice there's money in our coffers. We have a 10% unemployment rate on Long Island. If we want to save the environment, I think there are also higher priorities or comparable priorities like finding people jobs. So I'd love to ask both speakers to challenge my comments. Do they use mass transit? Do they use a hand-powered lawnmower? Do they recycle on a regular basis? Actions speak louder than rhetoric.
We can do that very briefly. We know one another, and the answer is we live what we speak. We believe in all of those things, and we bring them into our own lives. It's absolutely true. There's an individual sense of responsibility,
Absolutely.
and that's why everybody's pushing the lever and saying, now let's let government join us in doing these things. But she absolutely believes
But remember,
in all
also,
of those
government's got to spend the money wisely, because what happened 5 or 6 years ago was that a lot of money was being thrown at landowners with no control, and the county in many cases did overpay for land, which is why we have such a tight process now. We're going to talk more about that on the other side of this break, but meanwhile, if you'd like to read the full report by the Long Island Pine Barrens Society, Dick's got it right there. Visit our website, news12.com, click on numbers and links. You're watching Long Island Talks.
Possibly buy, because this is supposed to be the country. I moved in here from the city. I want to keep it the country. I don't want to make it a city and pay all these taxes. I'd rather pay all these taxes and live in the country.
Great. Good solution.
That's a good
I like
way to
that
put
a
it,
lot.
Robert. Thank you so much. Now, I know, Commissioner, you said there are some land purchases on the books right now. What is holding things up?
Well, and one of the big ones is that we don't have an accepted offer yet, so we're going back and forth trying to see if we can come to a new agreement on what the price would be. It'll have to come back through that board that was created to make sure we're paying fair market value.
Yeah, because at one point the county was paying over fair market value.
Right.
We found.
And then there's another parcel.
They may be overcompensating.
Right. So some of it is that going that back and forth with the land sellers to see if we can reach agreement on what the price should be. Some of it is that there's just more parcels with structures on them. So instead of doing just a phase 1 environmental assessment, we have to do a phase 2. We have to see if is there any contamination, do the buildings need to come down. We're waiting on, there's title issues, some parcels are in litigation, sometimes it's an issue of we're waiting on a survey or they're waiting for their subdivision from the town, which then gives them an increase in value. Or we've valued it as if the subdivision existed, but until it's approved by the town, we can't actually pay
I have a
that
suggestion.
amount, so.
Go to your
Of
boss
course
and
you
say you
do.
can't cover this anymore for them. Take the handcuffs off and let me buy 2,000 acres of land. Try that tomorrow.
We would love to buy 2,000 acres of land tomorrow. Give us 2,000 acres worth of willing sellers, and we got it.
And also, in the meanwhile, if you look at the white report, also there's also a look at Nassau County, also the state and the towns, how they're doing as well.
We got a big job ahead of us.
And as you know, and I know, knowing Dick as long as I've known him, he's not going to give up the fight. So, Dick, as usual, good to see you. Thank you so
Good to
much.
see you.
Commissioner,
Thanks for
good to
having
have
us.
you in. Appreciate it. Thanks for all your calls tonight, everybody, and stay tuned. Colleen McVeigh is up next with your live Long Island News.